I, 17, have a cousin, 31, and I'll call her Meghan. She is dating Mike, 23. 2 weeks ago we had a family get-together of sorts with people from my mom's side. Her parents, 4 siblings, her nieces and nephews, 12 total, kids of her nieces and nephews, and anyone significant others. Meghan had brought her boyfriend whom she had been seeing for 8 months. At the party Mike is very friendly and had no problem hanging around with the little kids. He carried them, feed them, played games with them, etc. So I commented, "Wow, you're really good with kids. Do you have younger siblings?" He told me no, that he was an only child, but has always wanted children and read parenting books and babysat when he could. And he wanted to start a family after his graduation. I was confused because my cousin was openly child-free on social media and in regular conversation. It was to the point where she wasn't invited to things like naming ceremonies, baby showers, children's birthday parties, etc. because she would go off about the selfishness of those she called breeders. She says it a joking manner most of the time, but some people in my extended family don't really vibe with that and get pissed if a kid's for doing kid things like eating messily or spilling drinks. She had even gotten her tubes tied and documented her journey, emotions about it, search for a doctor, personal reasons, on all her socials which are all public. She didn't have plans to adopt. Which is her right to 100% to not want children. So I tell him, you want kids with my cousin. Because she wants to stay child-free and has been very adamant about that and is not changing her mind. Turns out she had him limited on her socials, so he didn't see her Insta stories and not too many posts. And she had 2 Twitter accounts, one for him to interact with and one where he was blocked and she posted her views. I was not aware of this till she called me last week and went off on me. I had no idea she wanted to keep that from him. She is very proud of her decision, so I thought she had told him. Am I the idiot for telling him? I was siding with your cousin up until you mentioned that she had separate socials just for him, and also the breeder comment was pretty gross. I am not crazy about having kids either, and am still back and forth about wanting to have them, but my husband and I both discussed it way before we got engaged. Props to her for her choice, but the dude clearly wants a kid and she shouldn't take that choice away from him. Your cousin is definitely scheming. Not the idiot. 31 and 23 gets the side eye for dating, to begin with. And if she's plastering everywhere that she wants to remain child-free, it's not like she's keeping it personal. Having her tubes tied also means that it's a for sure thing versus someone who's on BC but unsure. She's been dating him for almost a year and has him limited to avoid this. Yeah, you did him a favor. There's nothing wrong with wanting kids or not wanting kids. But this was shady on her part. And you didn't cause it. It was bound to come out eventually. They just want different things in life, and stuff like kids is one of the things that need to be discussed. He should find someone who wants kids and she should find someone who doesn't. Your cousin is deliberately trapping someone almost 10 years younger than her in a relationship based on false premises, or, possibly, using him for a fun time while he thinks they have something serious, also really horrible. Incredibly selfish and immature. She's a total idiot and is the only one responsible for the awkward situation. Not to mention that she never told you it was supposed to be a secret, so how the hell could you even have known not to say anything? Good job, you saved that poor guy a lot of heartache. My parents divorced when I was 11 months old. My dad moved out of state with his job and he met his wife there. My mom had primary custody of me until they moved nearby when I was 7. From the get-go there were issues between my dad's wife and my mom. She wanted to take on an equal parenting role in my life, and even when my dad was out of town for work she wanted to take me the half my dad would otherwise have had me. Neither my mom or I wanted that. I was very aware of how my dad's wife felt about my mom and my good relationship with her. She was jealous enough that like 2 months after they moved back she started talking crap to my paternal grandparents when I was in the other room. It created a lot of tension between everyone. Several times in my life she did a pretty crappy job of hiding how she felt about my mom. One time she didn't realize I was in my mom's car and she called her an idiot and said she deserved to be my mom more than my mom did, seeing as she could provide me with a real family and that she was going to give me so many brothers and sisters that my mom would never give me. That didn't happen and she blamed my mom. I don't think she ever stopped blaming my mom for her inability to have kids. I found out a few years ago that she even tried to pose as my mom with my school and tried to get my mom taken off everything school related and instead have her and my dad's info as the only info. I have always had a very distant relationship with her for that reason. My dad hates it but doesn't push it. He knows I adore him and my mom, but I don't see her as an extension of him that would kickstart the love they were hoping I would feel for her. Currently, I'm expecting and my husband and I told our moms the names. Only our moms. We did it because they both expressed an interest in personalized or handmade gifts in my mother-in-law's case. My mother-in-law tagged my mom in a comment on Facebook about being in on the special secret of the name, and my dad's wife saw. She was very hurt and she came ranting at me about how horrible my mom was and how much she, dad's wife, had done for me and I didn't appreciate her or treat her like the mom she deserved to be. I told her treating someone I love so bad isn't going to win my love. My dad told me I didn't need to love her, but I was cruel. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. And if your father says it was cruel, I'd counter that you having to experience this your entire life, your stepmom's enmity toward your own mother, was excessively cruel and mean. I'd also be super clear about boundaries. Any bad talking of your mom by stepmom is grounds not to see grandchild. Period. End of story. Never leave your child with them. Good lord, that woman is toxic. I think what you said was actually very measured. You're not the idiot for what you said. But you're giving your dad a huge pass on this. Impersonating your mother at school is called custodial interference, and it's an actual crime. Was she planning to kidnap you once she had authority? That's actually really scary. Your father has allowed this clearly emotionally unbalanced woman to make your life much more difficult than it should be. If I were you, I'd have a serious chat with dad about why he's stood by idly all these years and allowed these two women to fight over him and you. Some people do get an ego boost out of the drama others create around them, and he should have intervened in this situation back when you were 7. Was it cruel though, or was it informative? She clearly hadn't figured it out by that point, so you told her. To be honest, I can't believe your dad has put up with that nonsense for so long. Step-parents can be awesome. I adore my stepdad. We formed a good relationship because he didn't try to force it. We just let ourselves figure it out. That's where your stepmom went wrong, she tried to force it. It was all about her feelings instead of yours. Still is. My 25 boyfriend, 27, and I are dating for 8 months. When we started dating I was putting makeup on every day and I fell asleep sometimes with it still on my face, so my skin wasn't in the best state. I realized that I wasn't doing it for myself, but for the others, and that I was scared of going out without makeup. I decided to slowly stop putting makeup on and appreciate my natural face. I started using skincare products and also started doing sport and eating healthy food which helped me feel confident. My boyfriend is a bit different, he has a more sedentary lifestyle and eats mostly fast food or highly processed foods. He's a bit overweight. I try to get him to take walks with me or to cook for him, but he always refuses. Recently he started doing comments on my appearance such as, "You look prettier with makeup, you're letting yourself go," or suggesting that he could get any girl he wanted so that I should put more effort into pleasing him. Yesterday I was getting ready for the day and he went behind me and asked if I was really going out like that. I asked him what he meant and he answered without makeup. Sick of hearing those comments, I snapped. I told him that he was ugly, always eating horrible food, that he was disgusting to look at, and that maybe I wasn't putting on makeup, but that I was doing something fulfilling with my life which he was not. He looked shocked and went to another room without saying anything. Since I said this he's giving me a silent treatment and I'm wondering if I'm the idiot for what I said. I asked my friends for their opinions and some thought that I was right, but some thought I was too harsh on him. Am I the idiot? Everyone's the idiot here, y'all mean as hell. This is not healthy for either of you, stop it. Nothing is worth this sort of emotional poison and you're both guilty. You've only been dating for 8 months and apparently you're no longer attracted to each other. And now you're just being cruel to each other. I'd say this relationship has played itself out. Move on. Do yourselves a favor and try hating each other from opposite corners. For a change, break the hell up. My guess is watching you make positive changes in your life, as well as seeing your confidence grow, is starting to make him feel insecure. So, in order to ensure you remain the girl that fell in love with him the way he is, he's trying to knock you down. If so, you've outgrown him. He can either support you or join you. What he absolutely cannot do is knock you down in any way, shape, or form. Not the idiot. He has no business telling you to wear makeup. He's an idiot, and there's no doubt about it. I get why you went for the jugular, maybe I'd snap too, but your comments were really mean too. Ultimately, I think you need to part ways. There's no coming back from such a situation, I think. Find yourself a boyfriend who truly appreciates you and shares your interest in taking care of yourself, or just take some time off dating to enjoy being single. I don't know. My fiancé, 27, and I, 25, haven't seen my mother-in-law since December 2019. Last weekend we went to see her and my father-in-law, and we brought our daughter, 4, for dinner. Our daughter is not my fiancé's biological child, but we were friends and reconnected after I left my ex, when my daughter was just a few months old. We started dating when she was about a year, and my in-laws met her when she was about a year and a half, and have always said they consider her their grandchild. They've never treated her differently than the other grandchildren. She calls them abuela and abuelo, etc. So when we were visiting, my daughter went off to play with their dog, and my mother-in-law turned to my fiancé and said, "So when will you give me a real grandchild?" We were both shocked. He reminded her that I almost died during my last labor, and we weren't sure if we wanted another child with the way the world is going right now. She said, "What do you mean another? You don't have a child." I started crying. I was adopted by my mom's new husband after my dad died, and when they got divorced, he dissolved the adoption, and his family never spoke to me again. I was 5 when I got adopted and 17 when he dissolved it. It reminded me of that and I couldn't help it. My fiancé was angry, so after I stopped crying, we got our daughter and left. My father-in-law called me screaming that I made a scene and made his wife cry for telling her she wasn't really my daughter's grandmother. I was angry and told him what really happened. Of course he didn't believe me over his wife, so I gave the phone to his son. My father-in-law called me back the next day apologizing profusely for the phone call before and my mother-in-law's actions. He said that he loves my daughter, she is his real grandchild, etc. However, everyone else in the family says that she's right, and my daughter isn't really part of the family because she isn't blood. She won't really be even when she's formally adopted, and I hurt my mother-in-law's feelings by leaving so soon after we got there. My sister-in-law said with my background I should get it. I was blindsided because no one has ever treated her differently, so I had no idea they felt like this. I feel like my reaction was normal, and my fiancé is so mad he wants to uninvite his mother from the wedding. They were very close before this, so paired with the rest of his family, I'm second-guessing myself. I don't want to be the reason they're not close, but she really hurt me, and it would have crushed my daughter if she'd heard, but maybe I overreacted. Not the idiot. I can't imagine how it must feel to be in a situation where you thought you were surrounded by people who you believed were family, but they thought something different. And for your sister-in-law to then say you should understand because of what happened to you is low, because it clearly hurt you a lot. I think your mother-in-law knew she was wrong straight away, and that's why she lied to your father-in-law about what happened. I don't think you overreacted at all, because there will probably be a hesitancy around you and your in-laws due to this. I would say it may be good for your partner and your mother-in-law to have a chat first, just so he asserts how close he is to your child, so she hears it from him. This 100% completely and squarely on mother-in-law. If it was me, and I did decide to have another child, she would be lucky as hell to know the name, gender, and to even get a picture. And the same to your sister-in-law. Both of them are horrible people. Glad your husband and father-in-law support you. That behavior is unacceptable and would definitely justify an uninvite from the wedding. Your husband is right to defend you and your child. Also, if mother-in-law thinks she can behave this way with no repercussions, then it will only get worse from here. I would not leave her alone with your child at this point. Props to father-in-law for calling and apologizing when he found out he had been lied to. I find it telling that mother-in-law's lie about what you did was exactly what she did. That tells you that she knows she acted so terribly that rumors of the behavior could be weaponized. My boyfriend and I moved in together at the start of the pandemic because we both had roommates who worked in risky jobs, and we were thinking about it for a while. He worked as a roofer. At the time he was out of work because it was cold, but since summer started he has been working 12 hours days. Now he's slowed down again, 6-8 hours, less work, but whether he works more or less, he still doesn't do any of the housework. I work as a network admin, so I'm working 9-6 regular office job with some on-call time, and since we've moved in together, I've done all the cooking, cleaning, laundry and dishes. The only work he does is take out the trash and shovel the snow, which only happens in winter, and the rest of the time he doesn't do anything. I've repeatedly, like once a week, asked him to do more, but his argument is because I'm saving on commute time, I should be using that for housework. He doesn't seem to respect my job because it involves sitting at a computer. He comes from a family of firefighters, military and trades, and has made a number of jokes about how useless paper pushers are. He told me they were just jokes, but after living with him, I believe he doesn't respect that I'm working and feels like my work is less valid because it isn't physical. It's been 1.5 years and I've had it, and last month moved out to my own condo, which resulted in a huge fight while I was moving out. He told me I was selfish for moving out, just because to avoid a little more extra chores. We are still dating, but it's tentative because I've moved out. I feel really bad that I might have ruined a 3-year relationship over this. Sometimes he does seem like an idiot, but he is by far the best boyfriend I have had, and I worry I'm going to regret it. Not the idiot at all. Funny how he doesn't think it's selfish of him to avoid doing chores completely. He showed you exactly who he is. He expects you to still contribute financially while taking care of the home like a 50s housewife. Be grateful that you saw this side before things got more serious and know that you did the right thing by moving out. Cut your losses and find a better relationship. What's worse, the end of a 3-year relationship or doing 100% of the housework and childcare for the rest of your life? Because let's face it, kids would be considered housework too. It's not about a few extra chores, it's about respect and being treated as a partner whose wants, needs, and desires are of equal value. You have not lost the past 3 years, you have gained the next 70. He doesn't respect you. Period. He doesn't respect your job, he doesn't respect your time, and he doesn't respect the life you are trying to build together. It's not about just a little more extra chores, though if that's not a big deal, I fail to see why he couldn't do them. It's about the lack of respect and the fact that what he is bringing to the table in your relationship just doesn't cut it. Good for you for moving out, congratulations on the new place. He's shown you who he is, believe him, don't look at it as a waste of 3 years, look at it as a learning experience. You understand your worth and what you won't stand for in a relationship. You'll be able to bring those boundaries to the next one, and you'll recognize the red flags much faster. You did great.